Bitcoin is close to becoming worthless.
Let's go. Now, what's the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin's like rat poison.
Yeah. Oh,
The greatest scam in history.
let's get it.
Bitcoin will go to fucking zero.
Yeah.
Alright, you ungovernable misfits. I'm your host, Max. Everybody knows that Bitcoin is useless, worthless, and doomed to fail. But what if everyone's wrong? What if it's the system that is doomed to fail? Join me as I speak to some of the brightest people in the space and slither to the deepest, darkest depths of the Bitcoin rabbit hole. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a good new year and I hope you are ready for 2022. This year is going to be incredible. I feel really hyped after talking to Antimus today for our Bitcoin monthly updates. Unfortunately, we were not joined by Bitcoin Q&A today. He is sick, he is ill, and he will be back soon. I want to thank everyone who reached out to me over the holidays, and I also want to say thank you to everyone who's been using the incredible Fountain app. It's really cool. Oscar Merry was very kind and got me set up on the Fountain app, so anyone who's listening on that or any of the other podcasting 2.0 apps, they can stream sats and they can send messages. I've had some great messages from people and some donations, which has been awesome to see. So thanks for everyone who's doing that, and anyone who hasn't checked it out, go and have a look. It's a really slick interface, and I hope to have Oscar Merry on the pod very soon. I want to say thanks to my show sponsors, starting with Casa. We discussed them during this podcast. When it comes to multi-sig security, I really can't recommend anybody higher. I've really enjoyed my conversations with Jameson and with Nick, and these guys do things properly. They've been around for a long time for a reason. I've been using them for over a year now, and I've had no problems whatsoever. The UX is so simple, and I do recommend this to all my friends and family. You can do these things by yourself, and we discussed that during the podcast, but for someone like me who's not so technical and would have sleepless nights without knowing that I have someone to back me up, from $10 a month, I really do think that these guys provide an amazing service. They have other options as well, but if you use the code BitByBit10, you will get 10% off your annual subscription. If you have any questions, you can reach out to either the team or me. Go to keys.casa for more info. Next up, we have Fast Bitcoins. If you're looking to stack sats, you can use Fast Bitcoins at over 20,000 retailers, and they are now providing a service all across South America. They're expanding at a rapid rate, and I love this team. They've always been one step ahead of the game. They were the first people to implement Lightning, and I have a huge amount of respect for Danny, their CEO, who's been on the show very recently. Go to fastbitcoins.com for more info. Finally, we have Foundation Devices. Foundation Devices make the incredible Passport, which is my hardware wallet of choice. I pestered these guys for a long time to sponsor this show because I love the product so much. It's something that I feel very comfortable my friends and family using because A, it is fully open source, B, it is so fucking simple to use that any nitwit can use it, and now they have just reduced the price by 33%. On top of that, you will get an additional $10 off your purchase if you use the code BitByBit and go to their website, foundationdevices.com. As always, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me or the team, and I'll be happy to help. Enjoy the show.
Hello, mate. Am I coming through all right?
You are. Good morning, man.
Morning. It's another makeshift office today. I have microphones stacked on boxes, trying to balance them. I have no screens, but as long as you can hear me and I can hear you and we're recording, we're all good.
Wonderful. Well, Happy New Year, my man.
Happy New Year.
Good to hear you.
How was your Christmas and all of the festivities?
Yeah, well, a lot to eat. It was wonderful with the family and friends over Christmas. Had a good time, and now New Year's Eve was quite a trip. Now back to earth and recovering. So good, good. It's set to go now.
You went hard, did you, on New Year's?
Oh yeah, it was good times.
Yeah, me too. We really, really big night. I stayed in with my missus and her grandma, watched a movie, and we're in bed by about 12:30.
That's the life, man.
Crazy stuff. But yeah,
Nice.
no, Christmas was nice and loads of food and drink and everything else. And yeah, now back to the grind. So I'm actually, I don't know if you feel the same, but like happy to be back, rebuild a bit, because you get to that period at the end where it's like, does this end? Like, do you know what I mean? Like the festive period kind of can drag after a while.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think it's like exactly the right length now. I also felt like really happy to just and like relaxing to get away from Twitter as well, just over
Hmm.
the holidays, and just get away from my phone, and just really like concentrate on a lot of people in my surroundings that I kind of yeah, especially because I moved about half a year ago, so didn't have a lot of people around me for the last few months. So it's good to catch up with everyone. Really, really like yeah, like concentrate on the time we have together. But now also getting back here to our new place here and getting back to my desk and
Mm,
actually like setting up a plan for the coming month and so on. It feels really good, energized and vitalized and new motivation. Feels good.
excellent. And we have a member missing today. Not so energized, not so revitalized. Q&A is a sick man today.
Yeah, sorry to hear, man. All the best to him, to you if you're hearing this. Hope to have you back next month.
Yeah, we will do. I think he's been ill for a while, and then in typical Q&A style, didn't stop. I kept writing like rest, 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 and I was just thinking in my head, this fucker's not going to rest. He's going to be still working. No matter how sick he is, he's going to be working, putting out some sort of guide or in some Telegram room helping someone. So I think he got better and then sick again. So I hope now he does rest and really rest. And yeah, we'll have him back soon, hopefully.
Yeah, so we'll see how we do without him today.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll be fine. We'll be good. So you obviously have picked up the slack. You put all of this list together, and I guess done some extra bits so that when I ask stupid questions, you can hopefully answer them. But where do you want to start? Is there anything before we jump into a list that you either want to go through that is particularly important from last year, from many of the conversations we've had, or anything that you wanted to revisit before we jump in?
yeah, I think obviously we like the last few months we've had the ongoing topic of compass mining and our miners that we ordered there. That was pretty detailed the last few months. Um, I think that's something that we should revisit and keep people up to date on. From
Mhm,
my side, I can say my miners have gone online, um, and they have been running as well with very minor hiccups for a few hours here and there. Um, but on the whole, they have been going for a few weeks now. Obviously, that doesn't change anything that we or that I said the last few months. From my
mhm,
point, I still think that it was extremely poorly handled, and at this point, I still would not recommend this service to anyone. Um, Time will tell. I think the last, as we said, the last month as well, the 1 year free hosting was a big step in the right direction. But I think just consistency and seeing how they handle future adversity will be the main criteria for me to
mhm.
judge. Yeah, if they learn from this situation or not.
Yeah, that was a sore point for me. I'm also online now, just so everyone knows. I am online. I've also had no real issues since they've been running. In all fairness, communication has still been terrible, but hopefully that changes in the new year. I'm happy to be hashing. I know there are still people who are not online. I've been chatting to a few of them in the background, and that makes me very sad to hear. People have been, waiting for basically a year now. So, the other good thing, and I'm really happy to see this, is TFTC dropped them. I was very happy to see that they did that. It made a big difference for me because that's a show that I've been listening to for years now. I have a huge amount of respect for the two of them, and it hurt to see the support there for me, and knowing everyone else who was suffering. So I know Matt was pushing a lot in the background, and I'm happy to see that that's happened because it feels that that was necessary.
Wow, I missed that. That was now in the last month, or that
Yeah,
they announced it.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. They did their
okay,
last ad read, and going forward, it's they're not going to be sponsoring. So
okay.
I have to say I respect that. I don't think any of the other shows actually did that. So credit where credit's due.
Absolutely. And from my part as well, I called out the two on Twitter a few weeks back as well. So definitely kudos for that.
It was really good, and I chatted a little bit to Matt because we've just featured him on 21ism this month. We've done a privacy feature. I mean, it was great to chat to him, but after we recorded, we talked a little bit about the situation. I know he was really cut up about it. He was very, very sad to see what had happened. So obviously, in the background, things have changed and they've moved on. So anyway, so that was definitely a low point for 2021. Do you have any favourite updates or implementations or anything that if you look back and you think, wow, that was a real high point?
I think there were a few. One was definitely seeing the Seed Signer project grow. I'm not exactly 100% sure when it was announced. I don't know if it was at the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2021, but definitely seeing the progress of the growth throughout the year. I know we shill them every month, but it was just so awesome to see that grow, and everything that's coming out from that community is wonderful. And then as well, the whole development on Sparrow with the implementation of Whirlpool, and all the collaboration with the Samurai guys, and seeing them helping each other out, and just growing that user base is wonderful to see. I think from the software side, those two were huge. Yeah, obviously the whole El Salvador news. It seems like it's been years, and it's kind of died down by now. But it's actually, what's it, like 7-8 months ago? The announcement, that was huge, and it's so crazy how quickly things kind of normalize in this, and how fast everything moves, and you sometimes have to take a step back and appreciate what's actually happened in the last few months.
Yeah, it's easy to take that for granted. You're right. Like now, if someone's like, "Oh, El Salvador, they have Bitcoin as a currency," you're like, "Yeah, obviously." like it's so you feel like it's overplayed, but you forget quite how massive that is. And I could sort of think back to when I started, and these were just dreams. These were just things where it was like, I mean, maybe one day, like you believe that one day, but it's so far away. And if it had happened in 2017, 2018, I think my head would have exploded. And like you say, now
Yeah.
it's like normal, and we're just all we're saying is, well, when's the next one? When's the next domino? The things that we've seen all around the world with people just starting to, I guess, accept it. I guess it's a bit more of a almost like a household name. I was literally sat for dinner with some family the other day, and they were talking about it almost like they were saying things like people are saying this could be the world reserve currency. They're saying that this could replace the dollar, and maybe they don't understand why, or definitely they don't understand why, but they're hearing these things, and it's starting to creep into everyone's minds a little bit. A bit, not that it's inevitable, but that it's there and it's not going away. And yeah, they still in the same sentence said, "Oh yeah, but tulip mania and that happened," and it was stupid shit like that, and just like, oh god, okay, you still don't get it, but it's not like it was in 2017. Like, you can say things like world reserve currency, you can say this is going to change the world, and people don't sort of like look at you like you're a complete fucking lunatic. And I think a lot of that happened in 2021. I think a lot of what happened with Musk and with Saylor and El Salvador and all this kind of stuff, which maybe is not going to be that relevant to the more privacy focused people, or it might not be of interest so much, but it is massive and it does change the game.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think for me as well, it's been now close to 2 years now running around trying to orange pill people. And it's like kind of like a lot of people talk about like the 3 touches you need with people, and I'm now like coming to that point where, especially like for friends and relatives, like people you don't see that often, that it's now like the third, fourth touch, and it's crazy to see like the discussions evolve, and actually people coming back with questions and actually opening up conversations, especially now over the holidays and so on. Wonderful to see. So yeah, we'll see what the coming year brings.
Well, mate, next year these people have had their third touch. They'll be tuning into our Bitcoin Monthly and waiting for the software updates. That's where we'll be.
That's it. Wonderful.
In our dreams. So should we jump into some software updates? I assume you got your notes and everything in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
This month we've got a bit of a shorter list than the last months. A few people probably taking their time as well. Starting off with Bisq v1.8.0. That was a bigger update introducing BSQ swaps. So Bisq has their own token. Well, it's a colored Bitcoin that they use for their governance, and they've implemented a kind of atomic swap system for people trading between Bitcoin and BSQ. And
Monero presumably as well, or no?
No, I haven't read anything about that. I think at the moment it's just between BSQ and Bitcoin. So it's...
Oh, no, you had to literally put a trade out and you had to buy the BSQ. Right, okay, I'm with you. And obviously that's why they're not doing Monero, because it would be very different.
Yeah, I think at the moment it was the same as doing it between Bitcoin and Euro or pound or dollar, whatever, that you had to have these 3 transactions with locking it up in a multi-sig and so on, until the trade's over. So now you can do it all in one transaction, all trustless. So yeah, you'll save a lot of fees on that. So that's good to see. And then they've also got a few new payment methods: ACH transfer, domestic wire transfer, and transfer wires USD. And then a few updates and improvements on the DAO protocol. So everything should go a bit faster booting and shutting down and so on. They've got Blockstream Green, Android V 3.7.7. They've also improved their automatic wallet restore process. So now you can punch in pretty much any seed and passphrase combination, and they'll should find more or less all wallets behind that, regardless on what wallet was created. They've also enhanced privacy options. So you've now got like you can't do any screenshots, and if you do like miniature view of all your open apps on your phone, you can't see anything on there and so on. So yeah, just minor privacy enhancements there. BTC RPC Explorer v 3.3.0. They've updated a tool for viewing the UTXO set. I think that was an answer to a discussion on Rabbit Hole Recap, I think, a month ago or a few weeks ago. They were discussing that, and we're looking for a tool to quickly find the or to verify the UTXO set. And BTC RPC Explorer has now brought that out, so that's good to see. BTC Pay Server v 1.3.7 has got minor bug fixes. Hexa Wallet v 2.0.65 has partnered with Swan Bitcoin. That's good to see as well. I think Matt Adele is also involved there. So yeah, I guess that's good to see that they now have a direct partnership and have a wallet interface there, so you could do auto DCA and smash buys and so on directly in your wallet and have it stored there.
Is it something to do with gifting as well, isn't it, with the Hexa wallet? It was like being able to gift people a certain amount, and then they can download that wallet and then they have their funds on there. Or am I making that up?
That could be. I remember hearing about that, but I have not used Hexa Wallet yet, so I don't know exactly how that works. But I remember hearing that there was some kind of system of onboarding new users and being able to gift small amounts. But this partnership with Swan is definitely, that you directly have the opportunity to buy within the app. Then Join-in-Box v 0.6.5, bug fixes and UX improvements, minor updates there. LNBits v 0.4.0, LN URL point of sale compatibility. That was good to see over the last few months, the point of sale being improved and also out in the wild in El Salvador. So cool to see LNBits also integrate that as well. Then we have MyNode v 0.2.49. I think yesterday they released the v 0.2.5 as well. But in both, they just have software updates for all their applications on the platform. Nix Bitcoin v 0.0.60, also software updates for their applications. Rust Lightning v 0.0.104, a whole bunch of API updates. That'll be far too much to go into here, and bug fixes. And then from Samurai Dojo, just generally from the Samurai Stack, they brought out a whole bunch this month, which is wonderful to see. Samurai Dojo v 1.13.0, support for pay to taproot outputs, and also they fixed a bug where you sometimes had missing transactions after a ZPub rescan or import.
I asked Q&A last night, but he was going to look into it, but he's obviously sick. I was asking, with this new pay to taproot support, it's nothing to do with this rescanning, because the rescanning was a problem that I've had so many times. I was wondering, is that like two separate things, or is it that something they've done? Did you get what I'm asking? Like it's two?
Yeah. I think it's completely separate from each other. I think the one, just the new, pay to taproot, supporting new output types. I think that has nothing to do with the bug fix. Because I've had that issue as well in the past as well, having to rescan. That is like rescanning itself has actually usually worked I'm not quite sure if that is the same bug. But yeah, let's hope that we won't have
Hopefully it's
to do that
better.
too often.
Well, I'm going
The
to have
future.
mine up and running soon when I finally get moved, which is still about a month or 3 weeks away. But when I do, I'm going to get my RoninDojo up and running again, and this time I'm going to have a Rock Pro and upgrading my hardware and all that sort of stuff. So I'm hoping this time and with this fix, when I do the rescan, that I do get all my funds this time and that things run smoothly.
Wonderful. Then we have Samurai Wallet v0.99.98. Also paid to Taproot support and brand new Whirlpool UI, which is fucking fantastic. Yeah, they've teased a few screenshots over the last few months on Twitter, but now actually seeing the whole design, how it all fits together, they've put in a whole bunch of new improvements here and there, and the UI and the whole flow feels a lot better, especially when you're using it for the first time in Whirlpool. It's a lot more intuitive. So hoping that they can, lower the barrier a bit for new users. I think it's still got a kind of a reputation of being pretty technical and difficult to understand. So I hope this brings them a step towards being more user friendly and a lot more new users onboarding.
I'm sure. I'm sure. With these changes, it's going to be easy enough because that's never been, even for me, it's not been that difficult using Samurai. Like I always thought it was pretty slick, to be honest. Like there was sometimes it would glitch and I had problems linking to the dojo, but in terms of the actual UX, I never thought it was bad, to be honest with you. It's not Blue Wallet slick, but it is a very different animal, and I've onboarded quite a few people. In fact, everyone that I've onboarded, I just make them download Samurai if they have Android. I don't give them an option.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first wallet I had, and I'm definitely happy for that. The one issue I've always had with the whole stack is with like the interaction between the wallet on my phone and the desktop Whirlpool GUI. So
Mm,
having the not having the full control on my phone, and having to switch backwards and forwards and then do some things on my
true.
phone, have to do some things on the desktop GUI,
Hmm.
and that was a bit counterintuitive. So I'm really happy to see a lot more control options now on the app on my phone,
Hmm.
so I can actually pretty much do everything from there, and just use the GUI for a more for a larger overview and just have that on my desktop while I'm working. Um, yeah, so looking forward to playing around with that more. Then we have Sparrow v1.5.5. Also, a bunch of new updates there. Most notably, pay to paynim, so stowaway, as the samurai guys call it. Also, remove dust limits when paying to paynims. So that's nice as well. You can just send your last crumbs over as donations
Mm.
to different paynims. That's great. And also, they added Seed Tool as an air gapped hardware wallet. So another option there.
Can you explain that? I have to say I'm ignorant to this. I don't know what seed tool is.
As far as I understand, Seed Tool is a software that you can use to generate your 24th word so that you can um, like put all your like the whole word list, cut it up and put it in a hat and pull 23 words and then
Mm-hmm.
generate your 24th word, so that you can do that completely. The actual picking your seed words, you can do that offline, and then you just need a device that can generate the checksum and your 24th word. I think that was recommended by Michael Flaxman in his I might be wrong on this, but this is what I remember. So don't quote me. But I think that was the tool that Michael Faxman recommended in his multisig guide, which was about a year ago, or maybe even a bit further back. And that was, I think, one of the starting points for Seed Signer as well. That they
Right.
then jumped and built on that idea of having just a small general purpose hardware device that can generate the 24th word. Yeah.
Hmm. But so with Seed Signer, you would, well, they either do it from scanning a picture using the camera, and then it generates from that random picture random 24 words, or you can do it through like cutting up pieces of paper and then scrambling them and taking them out. When you're talking about the seed tool, are you saying that you would download this bit of software and then you would run it like it's a program that you'd run, and it would randomly generate a seed for you using that software rather than paper or anything?
I think that, as far as I understood it, the seed tool itself was meant to just do the 24th word. But I might be wrong on that.
Okay,
I think it was so
fine.
you could basically install it on like a Tails OS or something, like on a
Mm-hmm.
flash drive operating system that you just boot up for that. And then wipe afterwards again, or you have an air gap laptop or something,
Mm-hmm.
and you can run that program just to get your checksum 24th word. But
Okay.
it may have more capabilities as well. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I had in the back of my mind.
So when you're running something like here we are. These are sort of stupid questions I ask because they're not obvious to me. So if I'm running this on Tails on like a little USB drive, and I plug that into a normal laptop, if I was just to flick off my internet connection, does that mean that it's air gapped, or does it not really mean that it's air gapped because it's still plugged into a computer that has the internet accessibility or previously has, and that even though it's running on a separate operating system on a separate little USB drive within that computer, it's technically there could be some information passed between the two which could somehow cause you to get fucked over. That sort of thing scares me, and I think, well, for the sake of whatever it costs to build or buy some hardware, I would always be worried. I'd always think, well, this is not sort of purpose built, whereas a seed signer or a passport or a cold card or whatever else, like, I'd always feel safer with that.
Yeah, I think Tails is. I mean, there might be some really high level or like sophisticated attack that you could do, but in general, the operating system is on the flash drive, and it only uses your like RAM on your laptop. So as soon as you and you boot from the flash drive, and as soon as you pull out the flash drive again, either during use or after you've shut down, it automatically wipes everything from the flash drive, apart from the OS itself, and also from the RAM on your laptop. There is a time period of about 30 seconds to 40 seconds where the information is still stored on the RAM on your computer. So there is a short window of time where you can freeze the RAM and therefore freeze the data so that you can access it later on. There have been attacks or like raids where like police come in and like freeze, like literally with like a freezing can, actually freeze the RAM.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's how they do it?
Yeah, they literally freeze it.
Oh fuck! When
Yeah,
someone says freeze, I just think of when my laptop just fucks up and it just like nothing happens. I get the wheel of death or whatever. You mean they literally take a can of whatever it is?
yeah, yeah. So it's like that's. I think also when you boot down your seed signer, it recommends to keep the power in for something like 30 seconds. That's the same
Right.
thing as long as it's got the power, it's actively deleting all information on there. If you just pull it out, it does also degrade after a while.
Yeah.
Um, it takes longer. So yeah, also in that scenario, it is possible if you are raided and people like actually break into your house and you have
Hmm.
the device on, you rip out all the cables, they can theoretically, yeah, freeze it within 30, 40 seconds. But that's a
Right.
pretty,
Yeah. High level sort of.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Not your average
otherwise,
burglar.
no, no. Otherwise, if you don't have any internet connection on the device, it's perfectly safe to use Tails
Okay.
OS for something like that. So then we've got Spectre v 1.6.2 multi-script bug fix and Trezor Suit v 21.12.2 also paid to Taproot support. It's wonderful to see all the implementations support that one after the other. That's cool. And also lower fees because they've improved their algorithm for calculating the fees. Yeah, and
Hmm.
improved UX. Umbrail v 0.4.10. That's actually pretty cool. They've got a new app on their app store, which is called Uptime Kuma. And I don't have an Umbrail running at the moment, but I checked Uptime Kuma. They've got like a demo version you can run in the browser. It's actually quite cool. You can just enter a URL for pretty much any website, and it checks in predetermined intervals, like if it's online, if it's reachable, what the ping is, and so on. So that
Okay.
you can actually chart that out and have your node monitor different servers you might have running or different services. So you can actually, yeah, you don't have to monitor yourself every now and
That's
again.
cool.
You really have a chart running back. And the last on the list is Zap Android v0.5.4 beta. Just a minor fix for a bug that crashed on Android 12. Yeah, so that was it for
Cool.
the software updates. We've got a few releases as well in the last month. One of them was brilliant to see was the RoninDojo Tanto, which is
Oh
the
yeah.
standalone plug and play node box. Fucking gorgeous, looking good.
It's so
They've
nice.
yeah, they've still got a pre-sale special offer, I think, until the 5th of January, which is tomorrow. So depending on when you're listening to this, you might be
Yeah, it's not
a
going to
day
be
late.
out, I don't think.
Okay. But yeah, it will still be available after that for about, I think it's just over $700. But it's
Mhm.
fucking great.
I've got Zelko on in a couple of days to chat about this and some of the updates, which I'm looking forward to. And I just desperately want one of these things. It's a little bit out of my budget right now, especially because I've already got my Rock Pro and all my bits ready to go and a case for it anyway. So it feels a bit excessive right now, but oh, I would love one of these things on my desk. It's so fucking nice, and as far as I understand, it's milled out of solid aluminium, which is pretty fucking cool. No fans. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Absolutely. I mean, on their web shop, they've got a few pictures of their housing, the case, how it's milled from the inside, the whole setup. That's pretty cool. So yeah, we're wonderful to see them out in the wild soon. Then we've also got Lightning Labs. They've introduced Blips, which is the equivalent to the BIP process for Bitcoin, but this is for Lightning. So Bitcoin Lightning implementation proposals, and they've started that a few weeks back, and are hoping to further innovation there and concentrate the discussion in a more efficient way. So good to see that as well. And then I think there, two more things I'd like to highlight. One of them was from Unchained Capital, written by Porter. I'm not quite sure who that is, but it's one of their writers who did a short write-up on multisig wallet configuration files and the importance of them, which is great for anyone, especially now over the last year. There have been a lot of software solutions that now make multisig incredibly easy, like Sparrow, Spectre, and a lot more. So you definitely need all your keys. That should be self-explanatory, but you also need this multisig configuration file, which contains all the information to your multisig quorum, like your xpubs and the script type and the quorum itself. So if it's a 2 or 3 or a 3 or 5 or 7 or 10 or whatever, so you need all of that to restore. So if you have a 2 or 3, you'd need 2 keys of your 3 plus all information you have on your multisig wallet. So you need this configuration file. So the best thing is to store this configuration file on an SD card with every seed. So you have that backed up multiple times. And there's no loss of funds or risk of lost funds if someone gains access to this file. So it's really just a privacy risk. So you can even, depending on your threat model, you can save it in a password manager or in multiple places as well that may not be as secure as your seeds themselves. But you definitely do not want to lose that.
What data would it leak? Let's say, like you said, they can't get access to the funds, but someone gets access to one of these micro SD cards. What can they do? Is it like effectively like an xpub, or they can see all your addresses, or they can see how much funds you have, or what are they seeing when they open this up?
Exactly. So it's like the equivalent for a single sig wallet would be the xpub, but here you also have additional information such as like the amount of keys in the quorum, then also address type, then the actual derivation paths of each key, master fingerprint, and so on. So at the end of the day, they can just import that file to Sparrow or Spectre and have the entire overview over your wallet, your multisig wallet.
They would be able to watch everything and monitor everything, but they wouldn't access the funds.
Exactly.
And so presumably then in that case, if that was to happen and you were aware that it happened, you would then set up a new multisig, send funds out of that one into something like Whirlpool, mix them, and then go back into something new. Would that be the way to deal with something like that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that way you'd break all links looking back, because anyone who has access to this file would have forward-looking but also backward-looking insight to all of your activity. So obviously you can't change your past, but you can set up a new wallet, jump through Whirlpool, and cut that link and start fresh.
Can this information be so that when you insert this micro SD card, you need, like, it's encrypted, so that if someone, even if they got hold of it, they couldn't just plug it in and use it without having to know another password?
Yes, you could. I mean, you can either encrypt it yourself. I mean, there are a lot of different programs that allow you to encrypt any kind of file. With Sparrow, you have all your wallets password protected anyway, so they're all your wallet files are encrypted on your hard drive on your computer. So if you export your multisig configuration file, that will also be encrypted with your wallet password. If
Nice.
you yeah, that's definitely good. The thing to watch out for is that Sparrow also lets you export it for Spectre or for Caravan or for all the other different implementations, and they are not encrypted. The thing is, it's a bit of a obviously it's nice to have it encrypted when it's on your computer, so that you can just have it lying around in your downloads folder, and you have the password for that wallet in your password manager or whatever. But if you're actually storing an SD card with your seed in your safe location, I don't really see the benefit, because if someone actually gains access to that spot, you'd need to then back up your password to encrypt it again, and it's just another level of complexity and not really any more meaningful security. So I wouldn't, unless you're actually storing it in a location which is really accessible, I would not recommend encrypting it a second time.
Okay. Oh, yeah. It's just that's something I thought that people maybe would be doing. Let's say, for example, you've got 3 of 5 multi-sig, and you're just a normal person with a normal amount of funds, and you've set something like this up. I would think that the average person would probably struggle to have 5 separate locations that are really secure, that have a safe. I know I would. So then I would be thinking, well, okay, if someone has to gain access to 3 of my 5, then why couldn't I have a seed, like stamped seed with one of these micro SD cards in, 5 locations of trust that may be not ultra secure, but with the understanding that either these 5 people that I have entrusted with, one of them don't know each other, or that I feel confident they won't collude, or that 2 of them are hard to gain access to or in safes, but the others aren't. Do you see where I'm getting at? Where it's like maybe some of the places wouldn't actually be that secure, and then you might not have enough trust in that person. You probably shouldn't have enough trust in that person that they might gain access to the file to track you, because how would you know if they're tracking you? You'd know if they'd gained access to one of the seeds, but you wouldn't know if they were tracking you with the information on the SD card. And so then someone like me would always be ultra paranoid, thinking, oh, who's watching me? Because I don't know. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, it does. And I've had that thought myself. I think that's exactly what's preventing me from going from a 2 or 3 to a 3 or 5.
Right.
Is that additional amount of safe spaces, and if they're not really secure locations, then I don't see a huge benefit of actually doing that, because the complexity does rise quite a bit. I can see the advantage of, let's say, if you're keeping this with maybe a trusted friend, is not that would maybe still be someone you'd trust your privacy with, but maybe with for a lawyer or
I wouldn't trust
maybe
them.
someone else, or you just have some kind of setup also for inheritance, and so on, that you actually store a key with the wallet file with someone you trust to hand over the information, but you don't necessarily trust them to not look into the information. The problem is then you've still got the same issue of, how do I pass on the encryption key to my heirs? Maybe I can pass that on beforehand, and so they know, okay, I have an encryption key for an SD card and information that I will receive then from this trusted person. That can all work. I think it's just very important to think it through and also have it documented. So literally write down the entire process and how people can restore it and how you would restore it yourself. Doing documentation is hugely important because all of these processes of securing your funds and your seed setup, your security setup, these are all things that are supposed to be in place for a long period of time, and you're only supposed to actually go through all these steps and use these fail safes in an emergency situation, and hopefully, yeah, quite a far way down along the road. So you won't, if you're in a stressful situation, you won't have access to all your memory of 10 years ago how you set all of this up. So if I can give one recommendation to anyone, is do really detailed documentation of every step along the way, and have that accessible. And obviously, that is another factor that someone can gain access to that, and then have additional information. But I think the benefit of having that for yourself is a lot larger, and hopefully you have steps along the way that even someone who knows where the keys are still cannot access them, and only you can.
It's such a stressful and complex thing that constantly I feel needs updating and rethinking as more options become available. And as powerful as it is to hold your keys, and as important as it is, it's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. And the approach that I've taken as someone slightly less technical is, like, I still keep majority of funds single sig because it's something that I understand better. I have a pretty good setup, and then I spread some risk with the fact that nobody can access, or nobody has the information to access, even if I'm hit by a bus tomorrow. But then I have a separate option with CASA where my loved ones would be looked after if I got hit by a bus. So it's certainly not a perfect setup, but I don't know that there is a perfect setup unless you have the ability to have different safes in different countries, and to that level. My bit of advice from when I've had stressful times where I think I've fucked up and like really, really panicked is just keep it as simple as you can and feel as comfortable as you can, because like everyone says, like there's more chance of losing your funds from overcomplicating things than there is with actually someone breaking into a safe or wherever you keep your seeds and then knowing what they are and how to use them. And it's more likely you're going to shoot yourself in the foot.
Absolutely, 100%. The last on the list I wanted to touch on is a new guide from Econo Alchemist as a beauty again on home mining network privacy. Obviously focused on home mining, but a pretty general guide as well on setting up your home network. Something I've been looking into as well since I moved a few months back. And it's a pretty long form, detailed guide on using pfSense and Mulvad as a VPN, and a whole bunch of different things set up on firewalls and ad blockers, and separating your traffic over different tunnels and different Wi-Fi access points, so that you can separate all your traffic between your guests and your family and your miners or whatever you're doing. Yeah, it's wonderfully comprehensive, well written, and detailed. So anyone who's mining at home, but also anyone who's got a large setup at home should look into this. It's wonderful.
I'm going to have a read through. I had a chat with OpenOms about this on a previous episode, and I have to say, like, I think a lot of people probably underestimate how important this is and also how simple it can be. It's just that it sounds really complicated when you don't have any sort of knowledge on networks, but you can spend not a lot of money and not a huge amount of time to get quite a lot more privacy, and for the whole family as well, without having network down and all sorts of problems. Like it does seem that there are lots of options out there now, or that they've always been there, but it's becoming easier with these sort of guides.
Absolutely. I think it's one of these things. I had the same thing with Diverter's guide on setting up a self-hosted server with Unohost. It all works fine with the guide itself, and as soon as something goes wrong, you sit there and you don't have a clue, because if you don't really understand what's going on in the background, you're always pretty stuck as soon as something goes south. But the great thing is that all of these guys, if it's Econo Alchemist or Diverter, or also Kitan, who's also on this topic as well, they're incredibly approachable, really helpful, take their time to answer questions to anyone. So really, like, don't hesitate to reach out. Obviously, I don't want to speak for them, but in my
You just have,
experience,
mate. That's the thing. I'm inundated now.
yeah, they've been absolutely wonderful, and so yeah, just generally in the whole community, there are loads of chat groups around all of this, and there are always people willing to help. So yeah, you still have to invest some time into understanding the basics, but there are always people there to help out.
Can confirm. Cool. Well, we got through our list there, I think.
Hell yeah.
That was very good. Into the new year, and I'm really excited to see what's coming. If last year was anything to go by, I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised this year. I really do.
Yeah, I'm really bullish on this year. I mean, just not. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things that happened, like in the last half year, for me personally, was just getting away from the price, getting deeper into the community and all the developments behind that, and being more optimistic on everything that's going on in the community, all the developments, and moving in the right direction, and not putting so much emphasis on price movements. That was wonderful for me personally. So I'm looking forward to everything that's coming in the next months and years.
It makes me a lot more calm in myself when I start to understand what's going on and how things are progressing. You know, this is a technology, and it's a technology that's becoming easier to use more privately, more securely. The amount of different projects that are cropping up everywhere and the amount of diversity in terms of these projects is mind blowing. And it makes you sort of think, well, whatever happens with price, whatever happens when you're sat next Christmas, even if the price was to drop in half, you're still going to feel comfortable because you know this thing's not going anywhere. Like, there are some fucking amazing things happening, and the pace at which it's all happening is, I don't know, it may just be the amount of time that I've been fucking around with it, but it just seems like I can never keep up anymore, and the amount of bullish stuff going on is just like pretty much unthinkable.
It really does feel like escape velocity, and I can't imagine this turning back and fading away again. That is, I think we've come too far for that.
It certainly feels that way. And also, just like with everything that's going on in the world today, it's like the best marketing that we could ever ask for. You know, you've got the clown world meme. Proper normies are starting to question a few things. And then you just have this complete counterculture. It's like the antithesis of clown world, which is something that is rock solid. And people are starting to wake up to it, and then we have the tools there ready. It's like I'd feel pretty comfortable onboarding any boomer now. Like, it may not be the perfect stack, it may not be the perfect privacy, you know, people need to build up to that, but it's pretty fucking easy to use now, and it's pretty fucking easy to use very securely, and the UX on a lot of this stuff is really nice, the hardware is really nice, and I can't imagine where we're going to be in a year.
That's a pretty nice thought. I mean, just yeah, to think about where we were a year ago, I could not have imagined the developments over the last year. So great to see what would come out now in the next few months. One thing I would really like to see, next to other implementations, getting on board with Whirlpool, Next to Sparrow, and Samurai, one thing I think is really important, especially for privacy, but also usability and just generally for onboarding a lot more people and giving a lot more people confidence, is automated or more intelligent or more accessible ways of UTXO management. I think that is still one which is still pretty tough to understand for many people, and also the tools available. I think Samurai, they have obviously their algorithm that selects UTXOs from postmix and combines them in different ways to obfuscate the payment routes and which outputs were actually the payment and which were changed and so on. And I think that is something that has to be built on and implemented in more wallets, because I see that as still a major risk to privacy long term. And the faster we build on that and get that down and have a bigger emphasis also for newcomers and users in general on education there, I think the better. So yeah, really hope to see that in the coming year.
I think we will. I feel confident. All right, mate. Well, thanks for today. It's been really good to catch up with you. Happy New Year. Hopefully we have Q&A back and all and well next month. But yeah, thanks for putting this list together as always. And I feel I learned something today, which is good.
Wonderful. No, it was a blast, and thanks for having me on. All the best to you for the next weeks. Hope to see you soon, and also to Q&A. If you're listening, get better soon, and hope to have you back next time. Be wonderful. Looking forward to it.
Nice one, mate.
Cheers, man. Bye.